Have you ever wondered how I got this picture? Do you want to know how long did it take to get this picture? Well, you are at the right place at the right time. Welcome to a new episode of Behind the Lens with Simone Amaduzzi. Rocky Mountains National Park, Colorado, 2023. It's a prairie dog, and this is how the story began. I was there for an expedition about mountain sheep. It was about May, end of May, beginning of June, and we were expecting, we've been told that mountain sheep will come down from the mountain because finally the snow will melt, so they will come down to get water. And what could I do? I could just wait, right? So we found the right place where the guy told us that they're gonna come down from this mountain. They already came down yesterday. Usually they come down every couple of days, but because it's getting warmer and warmer, they will probably start to come back and forward, up and down every day. All right, no problem. We found the right spot. They closed the area for us in order for us to take the right pictures, the mountain, the lake. So the goal was mountain sheep coming down, getting to sip some water in the lake, and you know, when you already have the picture here, the picture is already taken here, you are just waiting for the moment that will happen for real. The idea was if they go in that corner, I will have the reflection of them drinking in the water, so it will be perfect. You have the reflection of the mountain on one side and the mountain sheep on the other side. Oh, that's gonna be so great. Long story short, because it's pretty short, as you could see on my website, you're not going to find any mountain sheep picture. And you know why? Because it never happened. It never happened because we waited and we waited from early morning to dusk for a couple of days. Of course, we went back to the hotel at night. Early morning the day after, still the area closed just for us, but they never came down. I don't know what happened, but we waited and we waited, nothing happened. So you gotta find a way to do something on that dead time, right? You can't leave the place because you never know, but at the same time you gotta find a way to do something. A lot of people stopped by and asked us, hey, what's going on? Why this area is closed? Why can you be there and we cannot? So we explained, the mountain sheep was coming down. So a lot of people along the street, along the road, parked the car, came over just to see if, the mountain sheep will come down from the mountain. Never happened. At some point, the big field around the lake was already all blooming, a lot of yellow flowers, as you can see here. And I started to see, looking around, I started to see a lot of prairie dogs putting the head out, putting the head in, running from one hole to the other. And I knew that sometimes they do smell the flowers before they actually eat them. And so mountain sheep are not coming down from the other side, so started to follow these prairie dogs so quick. They were running from one hole to the other, coming out, boom, running to the other, started to follow each other, playing around, but nothing interesting. I started to follow one that I realized that was putting the head out of the hole more often. Coming up, running to another hole, coming up, running to another hole, and I just started to follow it. And I remember that there were people behind me, right? And they could see just me keep not running but moving fast from one side to the other, but they couldn't. Prairie dogs are pretty small, and I was using a very long lens. Actually, it was a 400 millimeter, so they were not right here, they were over there. And so from where I was, actually all the people were behind me because there were barriers where they couldn't come further than that. So they could just see me moving forward with this lens up and down, back and forward, right and left. So people ask me, what are you doing? What's going on? So the story was not about the mountain sheep anymore, because again, they were not coming down from the mountain, but it was about the prairie dog. And you know, people are like, yeah, just a prairie dog. Come on, I'm moving forward. We are at the one of the west entrance of the Rocky Mountains National Park. So a lot of people crossed by. So a lot of people moved on, right? But some people ask me, well, what are you trying to accomplish? And I started to tell the story. The prairie dogs, before to eat the flowers during the spring, they actually smell the flowers. I don't believe you. People started to cheer. No, it's not true. Oh, you're lying. And then one lady asked me, are you the guy who photographed the gorillas few years ago? Are you the guy that works for the magazine? Yes, that's me. And what are you doing? Well, I'm actually trying to take pictures of the prairie dogs smelling the flower. Really? So this lady turned around and started to scream in this parking lot, this is the guy who photographed the gorillas a few years ago, where the gorilla is playing on his legs. He is the famous photographer. And you know, in the meanwhile, I'm just trying to take the picture. It's getting noisy, so the prairie dogs are running around, but not even coming out from their hole anymore. And I'm like, shh, we gotta be quiet because we're gonna try to take the picture. But it's a parking lot, right? You can't pretend that people don't even talk just because Simone said so. So this lady started to gather other people. He's trying to take the pictures of the prairie dog. He's trying to take the picture of the prairie dog. And have you ever watched a tennis match, where you followed the ball right and left, and at some point you're like, oh, and everybody cheers. All right, that was the kind of situation. I was in front of the barriers. I was the only one. Peter is always with me. Peter is the videographer. If you don't know anything about Peter, you can actually subscribe to my channel, and in Behind the Lens playlist, I'm talking about Peter pretty much in every episode, because he is the videographer that always works with me. So any kind of journey, good or bad, long or short, Peter is with me. Anyway, so Peter is next to me, and we try, right? And we keep following prairie dog. Silence. You are in the middle of the Rocky Mountains National Park, and there is nobody talking. And everybody behind us like, shh, they're trying to take the pictures of the prairie dogs. Hey, look in here. They're trying to take the picture of the prairie dog. And kids start to come closer, and they ask me, what is a prairie dog? What is the difference between a prairie dog and a squirrel? So actually, in Colorado, you don't have the squirrels, you have chipmunks. Chipmunks are a little bit darker than prairie dogs, but size-wise, they are kind of the same. But these are prairie dogs. And if we are lucky, we are going to see them smelling the flowers. Oh, you can hear behind us, oh, and everybody start to follow us. So at some point, moving the lens from right to left, left to right, right to left, and you see about 20, 30 people following us, right to left, left to right, and nobody's talking. I made the story very short. It took us about a couple of hours. In a couple of hours, people gave up. People left. People are there for a vacation. They want to really see something, not just hoping that a random guy will take a nice and cool and maybe not even possible picture. So people left. But in those 2 hours, probably even more, but let's say 2 hours, at least 100, 200 people gather. And at some point, you see this prairie dog, and it's the same one that is keep running right and left. And I follow this fella until he just get into the flower. There is a bunch of flower, you can see it here. And he grabbed just one of it, and he started to smell it. And I was right there with my 500 very long lens, and I took 20, 30 pictures. And while I was taking the picture, the funniest part was not the prairie dog smelling the flower, was the 20, 30, 40 people behind me that they started to, oh, and they started to clap and cheer so loudly, because nobody was actually believing me. But when they actually saw it, and they saw it because I was taking the pictures, because again, not that close, and they are very tiny, so not that easy to see it. But because I was following them, and I started to tell people behind me, that's what's going to happen, hopefully, that's what everybody was focusing on, and it happened. And everybody, yeah! They started to pat on my shoulder, yeah! They started to clap. Of course, prairie dog left, ran away, didn't eat the flower, just smell it. But it was so funny, because at some point we were so focusing on the prairie dog that we realized probably will smell the flower. We didn't realize how many people we had behind, because there was the ranger. Keep everybody a little bit quiet. The ranger started to explain to the kids and other people, this is what happens to the prairie dog during the spring. They eat the flower, but before they eat the flower, they pick the flower that they want to eat. In order to pick them, they smell it. So, no mountain sheep. But I can tell you, it happened that a very cool picture just happened. And as I mentioned in any of the other videos that hopefully you watched before this one, by the way, if you didn't, follow my social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, subscribe to my channel. I have plenty of different playlists from Behind the Lens, where I tell you the stories behind some pictures. There is also Shooting Answers, where I'm going to answer all the questions that throughout the years you ask me. By the way, leave a comment below this video. I can answer any question you want. But as I mentioned in all the other videos, I really like to name my pictures. For me, the name of the picture is almost as important as the picture itself. So it took me a little bit to find the right name for it, but I named it Spring, because it was during spring, and you can see through his eyes that he's really, really enjoying it. So Spring, it's the behind the lens, behind the story of this picture of the day. You can find these pictures on my website, www.simonemaduzziphotography.com. This is it for the day. It's been a very short encounter. It took me a little bit to take the picture. I'm glad I knew that prairie dog used to smell flowers before they eat them. Otherwise, I wouldn't even see it. I'm very happy that a lot of people behind us now know, and they might pay attention of the little fellas on the ground around the fields. Spring. This is the story behind the lens for today. Thank you so much for being part of it. Subscribe, follow me. I'll see you on the next adventure.